Attention! Please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
He and the other guy got along.
I
and,
know.
Kept laughing.
And in the car, he's
you mean
like,
they haven't had sex?
Sex?
No.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast You Didn't Need But Deserve, where all level of nerd are welcome, whether you came from Hawkins, Indiana, Russia, or any place that's not those two places.
Or the upside down.
Today, we venture back into one of our first episode's properties before women existed like me, in this show specifically, by ways of sensory deprivation into the upside down with Stranger Things Season 3.
We did not meet you yet. This is not
That's
fair.
That's fair.
So everything we've done before meeting you is discredited now. That sucks.
Well, purely
No.
it's been erased from the
I
Nerd On
said
canon.
before women existed in this show specifically.
There you go.
Everyone, she went off the fucking script. I write the
Tom's
copy.
like, I didn't write that. That's not in the notes. I didn't put that
Oh,
there.
no, I see it there. Yeah, Tom. knows.
Yeah,
Bye, Tom.
I
Before
get
women
fired.
existed.
My job at Fallon is no more.
So touchy. Anywho, we're talking about Stranger Things Season 3 today.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to dive deep into
But
our thoughts
first,
about it.
Let's introduce a host of
I guess we
tonight.
could do that.
I'm Tom.
Ali.
Caitlin.
I'm Corey.
And I am Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by the Nerd On Nation, which is powered by Patreon. If you are new to what Patreon is essentially a membership service in which you can support your favorite creators like Nerd On. And in return, you get fun stuff like exclusive episodes that have never
Sign me
before
up.
been heard.
Exclusives.
Or exclusives. You get a Discord server that you can talk about everything from Today I Learned to comic books to even gardening, which is a lot of fun.
A lot of gardening movie.
A lot of gardening.
Furry pals.
And food.
No, that's not how it sounds. It's,
It's exactly
your
how
furry-
it sounds.
Furry friends.
Furry friends.
Don't
Yes.
you dare talk bad about my
Wow.
it is your
furriness.
pets.
There
Your
were some
pets.
Talk about our
furries in
pets.
there as well.
Yeah.
You also
Okay.
get first priority on questions for our Nerd On update
Yeah.
This is
show.
Lots
All
of
sorts of
fun
things.
stuff. So check it out. nerdon.io/Patreon. Good stuff.
Yeah. Nailed it.
But with that out of the way, this is not something we're going to rate at the end.
Yes.
So we're going to skip that Guess That Grump segment and the
Aw.
rating at the end because
Yeah.
this isn't done. It's not a complete work.
There is
It's
a
complete
season 4 coming.
Season 4, and we'll do the
Yeah.
whole shebang by
We'll,
that
we'll
point.
give our like impressions. Of
Yeah,
how we
we're
feel
following suit
moving
with
forward.
season
Of course.
2. With season 2, we were young and dumb and we didn't do it. Now we have formality reasons of like, hey, we're not going to rate
Yeah.
it.
Now
because
I'm
It's
here.
not done.
You can rate. You can reference back to a previous episode in which we did seasons 1
Was
and
that-
2
was
in
that
one
around-
episode.
Single digit episodes?
No, I think it was like 11 or 12 or something. Like
11.
that.
Wow.
But I listened back through that episode, and there.
did you?
I did. There were a lot of. You guys foresaw many things
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
that came to pass.
Such as?
Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
That was the biggest one.
Oh,
That was the
that's-
main one.
I'm a
that's
psycho.
it.
No,
just
you
kidding.
actually.
Sorry
you also
that
talked
we're
about.
not stupid writers, and we could figure that out.
Also, you talked about like Hawkins not being the only point, which we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll
talk
get
about
there.
it.
We'll get there.
So so skipping the initial. Skipping the ratings and the Guess That Grump. We'll go straight into initial reactions of season 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or first impressions if you're across the pond.
Start us off, Tom.
Okay, me.
What a
I
build-up.
absolutely loved the first episode of season 3 because it was after seeing Game of Thrones and Spider-Man and Endgame and all these other big climactic endings of all these things, coming back to something that's like, okay, cool. They're past their sophomore slump. They're here on the third season. 4th of July, everyone's going crazy. And if you're in Burbank, Scoops Ahoy is a thing, and it's wrapped around that one fucking building.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a pop-up Scoops Ahoy.
And the line was massive.
I missed it.
And Joe Keery and Maya Hawke were that. No, they weren't. But yeah, you can
you
go.
rascal.
I really loved just the feel. I think Duffer Brothers, the cinematographer, and the editors all they doubled down on this season. They were like, everything that people loved, more. Everything that people didn't like, less. But we'll still have some in there. And the cinematography, the pacing, the
They
overall
took it to
tonality,
11.
I love it. I loved it. Absolutely.
Made the joke again.
Well, I absolutely love this idea of everyone, like seeing where everyone's at during summer vacation
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
after summer vacation,
After,
right?
yeah.
Like, because Henderson's coming back from science camp and shit like that. Seeing that I'm just calling him Rocky or Jason from Power Rangers, him being
Billy.
a lifeguard, Billy.
Oh, Billy.
And all just seeing where everyone's at. And I love seeing Harbor dad bod shit.
Magnum
and-
PI.
Yeah, and so I loved that. I immediately was like, cool. No matter what, I'm going to finish this out because you have romanticized me into this world really well. And then going on to the end of the series, I was like, but you still do a lot of the shit that I don't like from season 2 here, and you don't do some of the things that I wanted from season 2 here. But I liked the more monstrous tonality that they went with it instead of like this ethereal thing you can't touch,
Yeah.
sort of a mind flayer from season 2. So overall, I like this a lot more than I like season 2.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, good.
No, you go ahead.
I think
I
I
was just
agree.
saying I
Corey,
agree.
go ahead. I really enjoyed a lot of the, especially the early parts of the season where you get to see the kids kind of just do their own thing, slice of life kind of stuff, hanging out at the mall.
Making out for hours.
Making out for hours. Because that's the stuff that I fell in love with in the first season, and I think
Making out for hours?
Making out for hours. I don't think we got enough of it in season 2. As far
They
as
were children.
Barb.
I know, it's interesting to see how lanky they all got.
yeah,
No, they look like you,
They're
Corey.
grown up.
Yeah, they do. Sticks you feel bad for.
Um,
Have you not heard that? Is this your first? That was my go-to for a long time.
Yeah.
A stick you feel bad for.
It landed real hard. It landed real hard. Anywho, sorry, go
It's just my
ahead.
life you're laughing at. That's okay. It's just my physical appearance and outward. Yeah, you do.
And it's on video.
No
Watch
big
us-
deal.
Watch us on the video.
I feel so confident. Let's do this.
Holly, about your feelings and thoughts.
but yeah, they captured the time really well as they always do. And yeah, it was just really interesting. And I love seeing the more physical threat, kind of like in season 1. But
Demogorgon.
obviously, like done like way better. I think the monster stuff was a huge
Cranked it
improvement,
to
and I
11.
loved
Yeah.
seeing it. And it felt nice. You know, we didn't get to interact too much with it in season 2, but seeing it kind of manifest in season 3 and what it means in it coming into our world, that was really cool to see. So great effects, good acting. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I hate the fucking little.
So we're not there yet. So
No qualms. No qualms yet.
My initial reactions were the same. I liked this more than season 2 for sure, way more. I didn't know that I would be happy that they would, for now, abandon the other numbers, but I'm so glad they did.
Yeah.
I went back and I also watched season 1 and 2 again for this
Oh
episode.
shit!
I went hard.
That was
Jeez.
that's
very
an issue
hard.
I had.
Turn
last
to
year.
11.
So that was actually when I was watching season 2 again, those episodes were my least favorite. And
It
so
just feels disjointed and kind of auxiliary,
yeah.
and it's a weird sidestep that comes back.
Yeah.
And she comes back from it, and
Well, it's her.
I definitely because I was
evolutionary
watching. I did most of it on my phone. And I would just kind of skip those parts, to be honest with you. So with this, I was really happy to see where everyone was. I like that they're growing up in real time. It's cool to see that. I really appreciate that kind of stuff.
thing. Hear that Linklater?
What?
Richard Linklater, who did
Oh.
Boyhood.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I think it's great, and getting to see them all grow as actors. I have some qualms here and there with just like story arcs, but overall, I was way more invested in this season than I think I have been. I mean, maybe even more so since the first season. This is kind of like, for me, I got the same feeling I got from
first.
Empire Strike Back.
Oh.
Right? So like New
Oh.
Hope's intriguing. First season's like, oh, this is really good. This is kind of cool. Season 2 is like, it gave us some stuff, right? It gave us some important thing. It did. Like, you can't have as good of a season 3 without season 2.
It had beginning, middle, and end.
But season 3 is really where I felt like this was their Empire Strikes Back. I was like, this is we know they're playing. They know these
They're playing in
characters.
the world.
They're having so much fun with
Yeah.
it. Not only that, but the actors also know where they're at now. So they're playing with it. They have their relationship.
They went full
established.
Goonies.
That moment where Dustin and Steve Harrington see each other for the first time after
It was
summer,
so cute.
best thing in the world.
yeah,
I was heartbroken because, and I'll get more into detail on this, but like Will having to like missing out on growing up because he was going through so much and everyone's
Yeah.
kind of grown up without him. And seeing him come to terms, that little kid's a great actor. Like they
Yeah.
honestly,
Oh my God.
all of them.
Noah Schnapp.
the actor that
no,
plays
writer.
Will though.
Yeah, the actor
Finn
plays Will.
Wolfhard?
Yeah,
No, that's
That's
Mike.
oh yeah,
That's
Noah
Mike.
Schnapp.
Yeah.
I don't know the names, but
They're all really great.
They're all on paper.
And I'm gonna get crucified for this. Sans Winona Ryder bugs me whenever she's on screen.
That bothered you in the first one too.
Yeah. Oh, still does. Hasn't changed. But yeah, Hopper's storyline was great. I loved that I hated him at first. I really loved that they did it to a character that I never thought I could really hate. So kudos to them for the entire cast and crew. Like, you guys knocked this out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
Wow.
Caitlin, the first time you're talking about Stranger Things on our show.
Wow.
women exist now. Go.
Yay! I'm here.
All right, Josh. Now you. No.
Fuck off. I worked hard to get
That's
in
what you
this
get for
seat.
saying it.
It's fair. So it actually took me a little while to warm up to this season. I don't know what it was, maybe just apprehension I really liked the first 2 seasons so much that I was like, I just don't know how they're going to do it. And then in the beginning, I wasn't very fond of Hopper. I wasn't very, I was annoyed with a lot of things because they also built it up to be annoying.
Yeah.
Like the D&D felt sluggish to do. Like they were like, I guess. I don't know. They just, it took me a long time for the 3rd season to get into it. I loved all the aesthetic stuff they did. I loved all the choices they made with the character arcs and everything. But it didn't feel as strong to me as the first season did. The second season was, but the 3rd season, by the end of it, I was like, that was good.
Well, I think that the 3rd season is supposed to be a commentary a little bit of the first season, where it's like, yeah, those feelings of like things getting sluggish, like that's how it all feels to everyone else too, because they're like on to newer and greener pastures.
Growing up.
Right.
Girlfriends.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Girlfriend,
there was
foodies.
Jobs.
it was a good representation of those growing pains, because I remember when I was like 4 years old, we moved towns, and that was a hard transition, and it was very bittersweet, and I felt like this season had a lot of that bittersweet feeling of growing up, which is necessary to do that growing up, but it was hard. That's why I think maybe I was so hesitant, because I was like, what has
I
to
don't
come
wanna
right
grow
now is growing up, and I don't want it.
Yeah.
So
being an adult is hard.
Welcome to
is.
the Inside Out episode, Josh.
oh no.
I feel that. I dig
Josh.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny. This episode is coming like the last one. The hype train has left the station.
it. Yeah.
And we were watching it go by
Yet again.
yet again. But I don't care. I was not very kind to Stranger Things in our previous episode.
yeah, no.
Stranger Things 1 and 2.
You were not pleased.
I loved season 3.
Goonies.
I really enjoyed
So as
season
the train
3.
went by, you kind of snagged on.
Yeah, it was.
You were train hopping.
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hop on.
The things that I didn't
No.
like about
No, Tom.
the first 2 seasons were not prevalent for me. I do have qualms, but
Of
it's
course.
I pretty much almost every episode I was like, oh, this is great. It was something that I binged. That I was like,
Wow.
oh, great, another episode. I'm gonna keep watching, and I dug this one. There were things. It was nice to see them a little grown up. It is cool to see. Like you were saying, Corey, I do like seeing when they kind of embrace the age as they're growing with the character. Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it a little bit deeper,
For
but
sure.
I really dug
So
this
this
season.
was the strongest season for you.
For me, this was the
Yeah.
strongest season.
Nice.
I think that they really they hit it. They did it.
Love it.
Very good.
So now we go into our synopsis and our
Yeah.
production.
Yes. I'm going to keep it very brief. Because,
Brief synopsis.
A brief synopsis?
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
synopsisizing a TV show with hour-long episodes can be quite the task. It's like synopsisizing 9 movies.
Yeah.
Or 6 movies. What is it? 9 episodes? 8 episodes?
For
Eight.
8 episodes.
So,
Eight
so
episodes.
8 movies.
Sounds right.
We're going to synopsisize 8 movies real quick. But to sum it up really quickly, essentially, the Russians are trying to reopen the rift that was closed at the end of season 2. This allows the Mind Flayer to enter our world as opposed to usually dragging people into their world. 11 and Mike have grown up. They're now dating. They are
Making
listening.
out.
They're
A
not
lot.
keeping the door 3 inches open.
No room for
Um,
Jesus, baby.
So you get this, protective dad mode, and he kind of threatens Mike, and that puts a rift that in their relationship. Mike and 11's, they break up, and one thing leads to another. Boys will be boys kind of thing. Girls will be girls kind of thing. She spies on him. It's a whole mess. It's a whole.
Give
They grow
him
a
the
lot.
medicine.
They grow a lot together through this.
Yeah.
And so the Mind Flayer is here, and it grabs Billy as its catalyst for change, for taking over the small town. And its goal is 11. That's who it wants. So one by one, Billy starts basically enslaving and turning people into the mind flayer. Starts with the rats, and you have Nancy and Jonathan who work at a newspaper. Nancy Drew. She's pretty much treated with the most amount of sexism I've probably seen on screen in quite some time.
Misogyny.
And says, you know what, fuck these guys. I'm going to go in the story about these rats that have been eating fertilizer. I'm going to go check out this lady. So they get there and they find this rat, and Jonathan's taking pictures. And when he walks away, it turns inside out and explodes, and the little goop runs away. And you learn that every time someone's infected by this, they are essentially becoming one part of a giant meat flayer.
Meat puppet.
Yeah.
Which, to be specific, it's a part of the whole mind flayer.
Yes, correct.
It's like the thing where
Right.
each part has its own.
is, but it's like a hive mind. So
Yeah.
they all know at all times. And what it can do is it can impersonate people, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of missed identities, all that kind of stuff. When Eleven is spying on Mike and Lucas, who's dating Mad Max, she goes, "Oh, let's spy on Billy." And Eleven sees Billy tying up one of the other lifeguard girls, and she's screaming for help.
Who is a bae?
And so they go investigate, and they're totally fine, like totally normal, acting weird. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I just felt sick. It's totally fine." One thing leads to another. A lot of mystery and terrible things ensue.
80s ensue.
80s ensue,
80s.
right? You got
Hardcore.
Steve Harrington dealing with real life. We have a new character played by Ethan Hawke and
Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman's daughter. And she, first of all, shout out, she killed it. She was probably one of my favorite
So
things this
good.
whole
A
season.
little too cool.
Her, Dustin, and Steve Harrington crack the code for the Russians. They break into their base.
With Erica.
Yes, with solely the help of Erica, who is like another standout performance in this. She was always the great little bits in this, and I'm so glad they gave her screen
Can't
time.
spell
because
America
she
without
earned it.
Erica.
I loved her little thing about doubting Lucas was there the whole time, and then at the end being like, "Lucas, you're here."
Operation Child Endangerment.
So to save us a ton of time, essentially the Mind Flayer attacks, and they have to come up with this plan that using one of the Russians, who is like such a sweet character,
Alexei.
and I like
Strawberry.
dude, like I love him. Like
Yeah.
I would.
He was fun.
He was great. So sad, so heartbreaking. Had to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
What's his name? He's a wonderful Second City comic. With the beard, who's translated.
The detective.
No.
No?
The crazy guy
The crazy dude.
who is in season 2 as well.
I'll find it. Keep going.
Anyway, he learned Russian for this season.
Oh, that's
In
awesome.
a small amount of time. That dude is golden in everything he touches. So the three of them have to break into the base, and they have to turn these keys simultaneously to shut it down and kill the Mind Flayer. All the while, the kids are fighting the Mind Flayer, fighting off Billy in the mall, the Gwinnett County Mall, which Mikey used to work at. Shout out to Mikey, our friend of the
Hey,
show.
Mikey.
Shout out.
And so one thing leads to another. Dustin's using his giant radio to talk to his long-lost girlfriend, Susie, who does exist.
Does exist.
They have a musical number. All the while, the Terminator, who has been fighting Hopper this whole time, comes to attack while he and Winona Ryder are there to turn the keys. One thing leads to another. Hopper gets stuck out there by the machine, and she has to turn the keys herself to end it.
Which will evaporate him.
The Mind Flayer at the same moment is about to kill Eleven, and because she saw into Billy's mind, she's able to bring him back to himself, and he sacrifices himself to save the kids. And at the last moment, she turns the keys. Hopper disappears. Everyone else gets vaporized.
Yeah.
Billy dies, sadly, with a bit of redemption. Very good. 11 and Mike are back together. They at the end of the series, they're dealing with moving, right? Because like they always wanted. Bob Newby kept trying to get them to move to Maine, and that's what she's gonna do. She's like, I'm gonna go do it. I can't stay here anymore. This is nuts. Winona Ryder's like, I can't. She finds 11 finds a letter that Hopper wrote, and probably one of the greatest character closings. I'm gonna do air quotes here. Character closings that I've seen in a long time. Really well written. And finds out, he loved her. He always loved her. He was always considered himself her father, no matter what. Even when he's gone, his love is gonna come through. So, all in all, we don't really know where everything leads off. Everyone's kind of broken. The party is broken apart. Will's moving. It's so long. It's not goodbye forever. They're, each of them have their ways they're gonna work out. 11 and Mike say they love each other.
She kisses him and says, I love you, and pieces out.
And but it was perfect. And they have a little moment too in the montage. Broke my heart. It was a very real moment, real acting between the two of them, like just kind of crying.
It's really like going away from home kind of feel.
Nailed it. So did I miss anything? Is that it?
His name is Brett Gelman.
Shout out to Brett Gelman, dude, because he's also in a show called Fleabag.
The crazy scientist
Yeah.
with the glasses. Right. He was like the detective in season 1 and 2. Or
He's a conspiracy theorist.
Conspiracy
right, okay, there's
Yeah.
yeah.
I was looking for his name for so fucking long. Rewatched the video.
Did I
was
miss
like that.
anything really important, vital? That's a pretty good summary,
other
right?
than the last bit
What?
with the Russians.
He quote unquote dies, but then,
Oh yeah. Sorry. So yeah. Then throughout the entire show, this Terminator guy is chasing Hopper and calling him the American. And in mid-credits scene, there's these two Russians speaking, and they go
In
to the
Russia.
door in Russia, and he goes, "Not the American." And they go to this other door, and they feed this Russian guy to an albino demigorgon, which that's where we're at.
I didn't even notice it was albino.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
either,
all white.
actually.
I just noticed
Because they were all black before. And this one's
Yeah.
like super flesh-colored, whitish.
Oh.
Maybe I'm just remembering incorrectly, but to me, it looked very different. From the other
Alien
ones.
4.
Uh-huh.
Maybe some Sigourney Weaver in season 4.
So yeah, I mean, I obviously skipped a lot of stuff, but is that a good? That's
That's
not
a good
alright.
jumping off point for us
That's
to
good.
discuss.
It's a whole
Yeah.
season of TV.
Yeah,
you did great.
He did
There's a lot of things I
good
wanted to
job.
talk about. Back to the Future's there.
That was only like 10
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, it was
and
only
never any
5
stories
seconds.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, it
But
is.
the production.
The production. It is distributed by Netflix. Director, the Duffer Brothers. This is producer. I always forget your Prod. Dan Cohen, he did Arrival, Spectacular Now, which is wonderful, Darkest Minds, Screenplay, Duffer Brothers. There's actually a lot of writers. Jesse Nixon, Jesse Nixon Lopez, Narcos, Flesh and Bone, Paul Ditcher, Art of Stalking, Mulligan, Kate Treffry, Drive, Soul of Totality, Justin Doble, Into the Badlands, Cloverfield. The cast, it's a huge cast. Millie Bobby Brown, recent stuff is Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, and the upcoming Enola Holmes.
Enola Holmes.
Wow.
Where Henry Cavill will be Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Sherlock's sister, right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Finn Wolfhard, It, Chapters 1 and 2, Supernatural, Carmen Sandiego, upcoming Ghostbusters.
And Danny, Don't You Know? Music video.
Gatton Matarazzo, The Blacklist, Katy Perry.
Gaten Matarazzo.
Gaten.
Matarazzo.
Matarazzo.
Dusty.
Dusty
Busters.
Yeah.
Toothless.
he has a pretty good band. Swish Swish, Angry Birds 2, Caleb McLaughlin, Law and Order, SVU, Blue Bloods, High Flying Bird.
And hopefully one day Miles Morales on screen.
Oh, dang. Noah Schnapp,
Oh.
Bridge of Spies, Peanuts movie, upcoming untitled Adam Sandler film.
Mm-hmm.
David Harbour, know him from Black Mass, Hellboy, Suicide Squad, upcoming Black Widow. Winona Ryder. She's in so much of the 80s. Mr. Deeds, Star Trek, Girl Interrupted, Edward Scissorhands. Natalia Dyer, Hannah Montana the movie, Velvet Buzzsaw, After Darkness, Charlie Heaton, New Mutants.
Question mark? Because I don't know if Fox is going to be canceling that
Yeah,
shit with
that's
Disney
true.
by the time this episode
I
comes
think
out.
he's a talented fucking actor.
He's
I hope
great.
it comes out.
Shut In, The Secret of Marrowbone. Joe Keery, Molly's Game, Slice, After Everything. Dacre Montgomery. Yeah, Dacre. I think that's how I remember hearing it. Power Rangers, A Few Less Men, Better Watch Out. Carrie Ewells.
Elvis.
Elvis?
Like Elvis.
Wow, I have heard it Ewells
In his book.
on interviews.
In his book, he describes it. He goes, like Elvis.
Wow.
So it's
I've
Carrie
literally
Elvis.
heard it
Wow.
in interviews, Ewells.
Well,
That's awesome.
It's also how
I'm
people
glad
say
to learn.
Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal and never say Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, in his book, he just puts it in parentheses, like Elvis. And I was like, oh
Nice.
my God. Because I said Yules forever.
Yeah. Jungle Book, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, Saw, Maya Hawke, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Little Women, As They Slept. Runtime is 8 episodes, which are around 45 minutes, and released July 4th, 2019.
Can I say this last part?
Sure.
So this last part, you can't really find the budget online. And when I looked it up, I was just looking up wages for the cast, and the main cast, 1.14 million for cast alone on each episode.
1.4 million. Right?
1.4 million on each on cast alone on each episode, averaging $200,000 per actor.
Whoa.
Now this is actually a change from
Damn.
like season one. Season one, like some people got like 35,000, some people got 150,000.
Right,
I think the person hit the most at first was Winona Ryder. Without Winona Ryder, the show would never like come to fruition at all. Like
Wow.
they were banking on her star power to make the show
I
happen
mean,
with Netflix.
look at what's come out of this. Everyone's a
And so,
star.
and now by
Yeah.
season 3, Millie Bobby Brown has the highest amount. I think it's around 250 to 300,000. But
Good
then
for her.
like,
That's awesome.
the lower actually paid actors are actually Natalie Dyer and Charlie Heaton, like the older guys,
Wow.
because they're not as prominent.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so like they're like around like 50 50,000.
Wow.
So like
That's
the disparity is
crazy.
really interesting. Like, oh, based on the star, it's Nielsen ratings. It's like who's bringing in the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guarantee even those
Keep them
episodes that
happy.
we didn't like with the 11 going off to
Yeah.
where the fuck were probably still higher rated than like a one by themselves with Natalie Dyer,
Yeah.
which is weird.
That is weird.
There's not, you know, you can't fight star power. There's a whole theory about it. I took classes on it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that was it.
Wow.
Psychological mind
Wow.
game.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Mind Flayer.
Favorite parts?
Yeah. Favorite parts.
Favorite parts. You know, I absolutely hated Billy. But
What?
then they made me
From
feel
season 2, you
so-
mean?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then in this one, I was like, he's kind of still a douchebag, but then you feel very, very sorry for him.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. Crystal Camp Lake, where the Crystal Lake Camp, sad. This guy's going through all this shit
Oh,
to
yeah.
a
Yeah.
thing that he can't control.
Yeah.
That like, well, they do
He's
it
losing
pretty
his
well.
damn mind.
Like, well, the thing is, it also just kind of comes to credit. Like, he's just a really good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you feel really bad that he has zero control of what's happening to him. And then he does the quote unquote save the cat at the very end, where
Yeah.
like he sacrifices himself. Also, I don't know. This is my last one, but I'll let everyone's go around. Hopper.
Yeah.
Hopper. Shout out Sig Up alum, baby. I don't know. I just love when he got the like. I just love when he like when there's things about characters that you really have to admire. That like things happen to them. Like with the kids, a lot of things happen to them.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
first season, a lot of things were happening because of them. They were going after things, but Hopper's one's like things are happening because of me. I'm going out to investigate this Russian place. I'm the one being attacked by like the Russian guy, and I'm killing the Russian people. And then like I'm the one that's telling like 11 and Mike that they can't be dating. I'm the one like wanting to date Winona Ryder. Like all these things are like his machinations. And at least for me, I am very compelled to like those kind of characters because I really don't like reactive characters. I really like proactive characters because to me, they move the plot. I think that's, writing 101. So I just absolutely love where they were taking this character at this point. And like, it is that dad, like being estranged from his daughter feeling and that like,
Yeah.
he lost
Not
his
knowing how to communicate.
yeah, he lost his daughter in before season 1, and that's
Yeah.
where the character starts out with, and that's why we like really loved him because like he came from this really dark place, like brooding, smoking cigarettes, and like just being this small town sheriff, and now like he
He's a
has this
dad.
extended family.
Yeah.
He's trying to find love in a bit and all that stuff, and he's like kept government secrets.
Yeah.
And then now like he's trying to settle down and try to hold on to things that matter most to him, and then he can't, so he's outlashing like a child.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that he was watching Magnum PI too. Has the mustache.
that mustache.
He's also watching
Like the
Magnum
Hawaiian
PI. You're like,
t-shirt.
I get it.
But also, he's just a magnetic
you.
performance.
Oh, 100%.
Like when
Yeah.
he overreacts, hey, 3 inches.
yeah.
When he overreacts, it's great.
Like I said, he was the best part of Hellboy.
My favorite part was Robin and Steve in the bathroom.
Oh,
she's like,
yeah.
Shit, her name is.
I stared at you every day. I hated you. Like that little twist of like, oh,
Wait, that part or
Yeah.
the one where he's? Oh yeah. Where the
Yeah,
twist
yeah,
that was
yeah.
her
Kind of the
idea.
whole-
the twist
the
of
whole
was it
thing.
really?
Yeah, making her LGBTQ was her
Wow,
idea.
That's
Hawks.
awesome.
Yeah.
that moment was just so like glaring.
That was
in
also-
the face because it felt like it was going to be one of those stock moments of like I stared at you every day because I had a big crush on you, and instead it was like I hated you.
Yeah.
I was trying to find something I like about you, and I didn't.
Well, she also.
Well, she was jealous.
She
yeah.
was like,
Right,
'cause
right,
my
right.
friend kept looking at you, and I liked her.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
My
True facts, a little close to home.
Oh,
mine's very similar in that same time frame, but it's the moment that he puts his head up and starts commenting on the girl that he liked, and we realize they're just continuing to be friends, and
Yeah.
he already doesn't care
And
about
he's
it
like,
or whatever, and
she
it's
can't
like
sing at all.
yeah, like that,
Yes, she can. She can't carry a tune.
because that could have been different, right?
Well, it's
He
quite
could've-
Yeah.
it's quite progressive being a period piece. Like it's totally
85.
it's totally
Yeah.
relevant now, but in the 80s, it might have been a different conversation.
But just
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
moment of him like deciding she's still an important person that I care about, and
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm not
going
gonna
to treat
let
like a
that
friend.
change.
It's not going to change how I treat
Yeah.
her, and you see that all in his response
well,
to her.
and even then, like right after that moment, kind of building off of that, they even like touch each other. Like he puts an arm on her leg or whatever.
Well,
It's
they
like,
just-
whatever, she was shit.
Yeah, she
you
couldn't
know.
sing to save her life.
Yeah.
Well, they also just survived the Russians.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you don't have that feeling, it's like a camp feeling, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Josh,
I'm gonna say it. I really enjoyed the Never-Ending Story music cue.
Yeah.
I know it's cliche, but
you
I
know what that was
love-
going to be, right?
What was going to be?
The song.
No, what?
It was actually going to be the Hobbit song. It was actually going to be the Hobbit song, and then the Duffer Brothers knew that Amazon was making their show, so they're like, we have to do something else.
Yes.
Interesting.
Don't let that
interesting.
stop you for a moment.
I
Yeah,
liked it too.
lawsuits, man.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
Even though it is probably the reason 2 characters died, but
Yeah, I saw that.
Wait, what?
yeah, I said it out loud too to Dana when we were watching it, and then I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
If Susie didn't make him sing that song, David Harbour would still be alive, and probably Billy too.
Oh, because time.
Yeah,
yeah.
because the Russian wouldn't have showed up right as they're turning the key.
I thought about that as well when I was watching. I was like, wow, this is a lot of
But-
time they could have. Both Bonnie and I went, there's really important shit happening right now, and you
Yeah.
want this to
Harbor, Dave, Hopper
Right.
dying.
Anytime I say that, just there's air quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Because there's a lot of things. He was also everyone got vaporized on this side of the electrical field, but he was on the other side of the
Yeah.
electrical
Yeah.
field. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of little things.
And
But-
right by
Well, they never
the
showed him.
opening.
Yeah,
But also in that, go ahead.
I was gonna say everyone's reactions while they're singing were
Yeah.
fucking
Like-
priceless.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, Steve Harrington okay.
Joe Keery.
This is also Dana's favorite part too. Is they're singing and it cuts to the car a wide and it's being chased by this monster and then it gets and you're like, oh, they must be freaking out and it zooms into the car and they're just like, what the fuck is this? Like not worrying about the giant monster chasing them anymore. They're more confused and then it pans out and Will's like really uncomfortable and Lucas is just like wide-eyed staring straight ahead. It was wonderful.
It's a
No,
real
it was
girl.
it was fantastic to just see everything that was happening around it. But then when they went into the two Susie and Dustin like singing, it was so magical.
Yeah.
It was so fantastic. And then you see
sweeping
the
shot.
outside like
Well, then she puts her hand out and points up
Yeah.
in the air. But I will say, this is like my big issue with those kind of moments where it's like, that you kill 2 people
Yeah.
because of that shit.
Yeah.
Where it's like in a
Yeah.
Marvel movie when they have a giant war, it's like, hey man,
It's like when you
let's
think-
go hug. People are dying.
you
People
start
are dying
thinking
right now.
you start thinking of the logic of like musicals. Like when you like this musical number, you're like, but the logic and the time frame, you know what's happening behind the scenes. Like this is important shit, everybody.
Yeah.
I forget who it was, but someone said the great thing about musicals, you actually can use them as action sequences.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you do it that way, it works. But then we do it again in the middle of fucking war, Les Mis.
Well,
Come on, people are getting shot.
well, the
Do
thing.
you hear the sound?
Well, the thing about like really good musicals and the way that I think about musicals, any musical number needs to make sense because if it was not put to music, it needs to be a scene or it needs to be a monologue or something like that. So if you take something like this, it's like, I love it. Logically, it doesn't make sense.
But also, like, good for them because Gaten was on Broadway. That was
Yeah.
like his thing.
yeah.
Oh.
My
Get
another
him to sing.
the other thing is more of like an overarching thing is it really is the bromance between Dustin and Steve.
Henderson
Yes.
and Harrington.
So
Oh my
cute.
god.
Steve
they
the
just-
Hair Harrington.
Like it's just and you think back there are things about this season that I think back and it makes me appreciate some things about
Yeah.
season 2 that maybe I didn't at the time.
I
And you're
still
like,
like
okay, the
season 2.
building, well, I remember I was very not nice to
Oh yeah. So, but when he becomes Mom Harrington in season 2, best thing
Yeah.
ever.
so
So that led to this, and now you're just like.
I have
so
others,
bad.
but for now.
Alexi.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Alexi, like that moment right before terrible things happen to him where he's like, I'm going to be an
Oh,
American. I'm
yeah.
going to go to the carnival and see what my new
He
life
wins
will
the
be
stuffed
like.
animal and
He
everyone's
wins the
cheering him
stuffed
on.
animal, and all these kids are like, Alexi, you did everything great and perfect, and you're so
Yeah.
cool. And
And how much he and the other guy got along.
I
and, like,
know.
kept laughing.
And in the car,
You
he's
mean
like,
they haven't had sex?
sex?
No.
Like, that was amazing.
Alexi's a great character.
He
I
is,
did. Oh yeah, go ahead.
He's Dr. Phil of the universe.
When Hopper calls it, when he's like he can't go anywhere.
Oh yeah,
And no one's believing him?
I literally thought I meant for a
Me
second.
too. I was like, oh, Hopper's
fucked up.
fucking up, and then he just stops, and you're like,
whoa, golf clap.
well done, dude. And he's like, cherries. He said cherries fine.
Yeah.
Like Hopper had this really cool arc where it was like you're supposed to not like him, but then you start like understanding where
Really
he's from.
liking him.
and then all of a sudden you like, oh, he's like a sad romantic mope, and then all of a sudden like,
oh, he's fucking baller.
Yeah.
Like baller.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Like he killed all those Russians when he first landed, right?
Yeah.
He's been killed them
Yeah,
all.
he was trying to talk it out. And he
Yeah.
was like, General who? Lieutenant who? He's like, and he just goes, excuse me.
Oh, right.
And that was it. Yeah.
Gangster.
Hopper shot first.
Hopper shot first. Although, so since you said that, my wife pointed this out, and I can't stop thinking about how good Joe Keery would have been as a young Han Solo.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that tweet that you posted, and I was
Wow.
like, this is wrong.
He would have been. He would have been great. He would have been
Yeah.
great.
Ah.
Yeah, he's got it. So
And Caleb McLaughlin as
Morales.
Lando.
no.
And Gaten Mascherano as Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
Welcome to
He does
Fancast,
it.
the podcast.
So
he used to do, yeah.
for me, one of my favorite moments was the it's a two-parter. So first of all, everyone knows from the last couple episodes, I got like a soft spot for Lucas. I think since season 1, being the one like going like, this is fucking nuts, guys. This is crazy. So it's the moment where they're in the supermarket and he finds the fireworks. And
Oh,
Max is
yeah.
like, oh, fireworks? And he's like, no, I don't think you understand. You tie a few of these together. You have TNT. Do you get that? And then the callback at the end, that moment where it's about to kill 11, and then just boom, 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 and you see Lucas lighting them up and just throwing the fireworks. You're like, they worked. It was wonderful. Also, one of the coolest visuals I've seen
Oh,
is
yeah.
that sweeping
It was
shot
cool.
with the fireworks coming
Yeah.
down and
Yeah.
Billy like getting hurt and stuff. I don't know. I loved it.
My favorite thing of what Lucas did this season was consoling Mike.
That whole arc is great.
Like,
he's a shitty but
he's a
also
sh-
great boyfriend, but like also terrible.
He already somehow
He's got the
knows
game.
how to navigate the relationship.
Yeah, and he was like, no,
up and
look,
downs.
look, this is gonna happen. Do this. I'm gonna create an opening. Okay, you gotta
But-
swoop in.
Also, he's like, hey man, he's like, you shouldn't have said that, man.
Yeah.
Like I could have helped you out.
Yeah,
But on the flip side, what's going on with Max and 11? Like when my favorite
Fuck
thing is
boys.
when 11 goes, give him the medicine.
yes.
I dumped
dump
your
your
ass.
I dump your ass. And I
Yeah.
was like, and just
that was
that
really
whole
funny. I loved all of her deliveries, really.
Yeah.
Like kind of her broken sentences every now and again. Like that was
Yeah.
that was funny.
Oh, she was
Ooh.
I
great.
love that.
Also, Mrs. Wheeler and Billy almost affair that happened, and then
Oh.
her being like,
Hot
yeah.
80s,
No.
baby. Hot 80s.
Yeah, I really liked her
My
being
God.
like, I'm sorry, don't be mad at me. But like coming to him and trying to talk it out after the fact of being like, no, I just, I like my life and everything. Even though she like rolls her eyes at her husband later after he's like, there's someone out there for everybody. And she's like, like, oh no.
Nancy's mom's got it going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
She's
She
all
does.
it's like that song, but a little different, but sort of.
yeah. All the moms lining up was fucking brilliant.
Oh,
That was
but I love
hilarious.
that little like, oh, it's almost time
Hi,
now.
Billy.
It's almost time. Could you rub
They all
some
get
on me?
ready. They're like, here he comes.
Can you rub some lotion on me?
Brilliant.
Oh, so good.
10 more
Brilliant.
minutes.
Like,
And then that to the kid, hey, you run one more time. It's like, oh shit.
no running. But it's like that almost kind of reminded me so much of Sandlot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that
For
with
sure it's a
myself,
callback
Sandlot.
to that.
And
Yeah.
and I love the Duffer Brothers have talked about, Jaws and The Thing and all these 80s films and Goonies and all that stuff where they're like, we just wanted to bring back those feelings for people. And I was like, you did it so much better this season than you've done it any other season. And the other seasons was kind of like, cool, you have the poster back there. That's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you're playing off like, oh, cool, you have Ghostbusters uniforms.
This one
Cool.
you've got shopping montages.
Yeah,
and you've got
this one's like you're,
Back to the
you're,
Future.
you're
Yeah.
in it.
And he was
You're in
trying
it.
to bang his mom, and it
The swimsuits, all of that was
brilliant.
great.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I kind of do also like Mike a lot more in this season because he's trying to do the right thing. Like the tough thing is with amongst the kids. Like in season 1, he was kind of the leader. What's that called? When the leader kind of comes up out of nowhere, I forget the name of it. But he kind of comes with the leader mainly because like he's also in love with 11, and then also like, hey guys, we should all do this
Natural born leader.
because it might impress 11 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um.
Season 2 doesn't do shit.
And in season 2, he's kind of in the back around and like it's mainly 11's story trying to figure out this. But in this one, it's kind of like he's trying to toe both lines. He's like,
Yeah.
I have to be there for the friendship, but I'm really not. There's 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to be there for the girlfriend stuff. Everyone, I'll just knock over this mic.
just punched his mic, dude.
Just- I know.
You just feel so strongly about season 3.
And like he can't get a hold on that too. So it's like I liked where he was going with it. I think Finn actually has like quote unquote grown as an
Yeah.
actor in this.
Physically.
Yeah. Literally,
Yeah.
quite literally, actually.
Yeah.
He looks so tall.
I was a big fan of Max in this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love how natural she is part of the group now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And her dynamic with her and Elle was really
I liked most
to
of it.
watch.
Sometimes she was a bit too much of a Debbie Downer for me. Where I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, so naysaying everything.
Well,
Jeez.
she's a naggy girlfriend.
Yeah.
Also, the world's de facto leader.
Okay.
De facto leader. He was a
Ah.
very de facto leader, but then like Hopper is 100% leader
Yeah.
role. Harrington is mom. He's boyfriend. He's babysitter.
Dustin's My Little Pony nerd proving moment.
Oh, that was so
That's like
good.
that was like for
The
us.
Mecca,
That
yeah.
was for us.
You're a
that
nerd.
was great.
Yeah.
Everyone's a nerd.
Why do you know so much about My Little Pony? I'm a nerd. And he just crawls through the fan. All right, we're good to go.
He's like, let's go, nerd.
And she's like,
yeah.
I don't like it.
Brilliant. That was brilliant
That was
writing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I actually really liked.
And then when they gave her the D&D at the end, and she was like,
I'm gonna play this shit.
I liked the little funhouse fight scene
Yeah.
with the Russians.
Yeah.
That was so scary.
It was a nice like physical, set piece where it's like, oh cool, I'm traveling all around through. But also there's the highest amount of tension where Alexi.
Yeah.
no.
Also, wait,
I'm so
I
sad.
don't know. I just love Hopper. I love when he beat the shit of Carrie Elvis.
Elvis.
I'm gonna say Elvis.
Yeah.
Carrie Elvis and like beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Just closed the fucking door, told the secretary to shut up and just
Yeah.
went to town on his ass and like made sure he didn't run
The
away
mayor?
and shit. Oh god,
Yeah.
it's so good.
There was the scenes within the mind. I know that they've done them before, but there was one that it was between 11 and Billy, and it was
Where
kind
he
of like a
grabs her.
oh shit, but she falls backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Slowly, and it was cool to read that she had to learn how to fall backwards and keep practicing it. But just the way that they did it, it was like
It's like in the water. It's like that one sequence.
yeah,
you
the
always
scenes that I don't like, but it's like it's not that I don't like them.
No, you just-
it's just they
you
use
know
them a
She
lot.
wasn't underwater though.
No.
Yeah.
What I'm just
You're
trying
good.
to say is that
You're
they
clear.
everybody at home. One time I said that I don't like those scenes underwater, like Shape of Water, and it will haunt me to this day.
Yeah, and his
Yeah.
favorite movie is
Forever.
Paddington.
Paddington 2.
Anywho.
Paddington 2.
You say something once
And
anyway,
the pig
but
from
there was
Power Rangers is your boy.
That's the power of the
it was
internet.
slow motion, and it was like there was also water on the ground. I would love to be in the stage when they're filming
Present for
those
that.
just to see how they're
Yeah.
doing those kinds of things, like even just the total blackness, just to see
Oh, yeah.
like how they're doing it. And
Why's it gotta be blackness?
My
'cause it's
shout
it
out,
dark and
was.
blackness.
shout out to my friend Erica. There was a commercial for Halloween Horror Nights last year, and they did Stranger Things as a maze, and she got to do a whole commercial in that
Oh,
stage.
shit, that's
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, in the water and
Wow.
all that kind of stuff.
Shout out to my roomie who works there.
Oh, there you
Oh.
go.
I'm not gonna
Oh,
say his name
yeah.
because I don't want to get him in trouble.
I used to work there.
Yeah. I also liked the fight in the sauna.
Oh,
Where you
yeah.
gotta see 11 like almost
oh.
peak of her abilities. I really like that about the seasons at 11. You get to see her like fucking go
And
go
then
in.
I
go
forgot
ham.
to even mention in the summary she loses her powers.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally
yeah.
Because
forgot.
the bite. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
yeah.
named an episode called The Bite.
Yeah.
But I really liked seeing the extent of her abilities and how she had to become like Deus Ex Machina, where it's
Yeah.
like it's
When
not
she
so
tore the mind flare. Ugh.
it's not so bad, but it's more like she is the only one that could stop this, and so it's like it feels very heroic in that sense, not
Yeah.
Yeah.
plotty. Even though I think for better or for worse, it happens to be that way. Yeah, I really like the fight scenes in this scene.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice,
Oh,
nice,
and
nice.
I also like the hospital sequence between
Oh my god.
Natalie and
that was
Charlie.
terrifying.
Like,
when those two dudes melted.
Jake Busey. Like that was such a weird cameo.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, you are such your father's son.
The simultaneous fights.
Yeah,
it
but
was
like
wonderful.
just his giant teeth and his manners, like you are totally Gary
Yeah.
Busey's son. But like
Nancy Drew.
I like most of the stuff in there, other than the fucking monster stuff, was all practicals.
Yeah.
Other than like the couple flare ups of the veins, so I was like, oh, the makeup in here is really pretty
Wonderful.
dope.
Yeah.
And like they go back to a horror movie sense instead
Yeah.
of like this alien invasion feel, but to a horror movie sense, which I liked.
Okay. I just remembered one of my absolute favorite parts. And the tension was built so well that I had to rewind it and watch it 3 times because I thought the way they did it was like editors and DP, you guys fucking nailed this shit. It's the scene where they're in the car and it won't start. And she's in the front of it. Nancy's shooting at Billy. And I'm like 90% sure. I was like, Nancy's about to die. And at the last minute, Steve Harrington rams the front of his car out of the way.
Yeah.
That was such wonderful tension that I was like, for some reason, nothing else occurred to me. I couldn't think of any other
They
possibilities.
they pushed that
to
very
the last second.
They did that really well this season. Like again with Alexei driving away, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, Hopper fucked up.
That
But it's
was
like, oh no, he didn't.
That was what to the point where like when Steve hit, my wife and I both out loud went, "Yeah! Oh yes! Oh okay, let's watch that again," because that was nuts. I just really dug it. I think that was for me. That was probably one of the most not emotionally invested, but definitely like edge of my seat moments
Yeah.
where I was
Yeah.
like, I can't predict what's
For
going to
me,
happen.
it was another awesome moment was when the flare kind of came in from the roof of the
Yeah.
mall.
Oh.
Like, that was
yeah.
And they're all fighting the different arms that are coming in. And
like that was a really cool sequence.
Cool boss fight.
I just for some reason I love like settings, like end of the world kind of scenarios inside of a mall.
yeah,
I just find it like funny and
that last fight
Dawn
was
of the
great.
Dead?
All
Like
the
Dawn of the
fireworks
Dead.
were good. Like I loved it.
I also like that the mall itself, without any Russians or mind flayers, was viewed as an evil thing by the people
Well,
of Hawkins.
It's
because
it's a commentary.
It was, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a commentary of the time. But
Right.
I love that the mall itself was evil.
Yeah.
The people
Closing
who owned
businesses.
and created the mall were evil, and the thing that came to the mall was like the most evil.
Here's a fun
Yeah.
fact about the Gwinnett County Mall that I learned from my buddy
Mikey.
Mikey and his
Shout
friends
out.
who live in Georgia.
Shout out.
Apparently, do you know the actual mall is owned by the Russian mafia?
What?
And his friend hadn't seen Stranger Things, and his friend said that to us, and Mikey and I were like, "Are you kidding?" He's like, "No, that's word on the street is," and I was like, "That's
that's
wonderful."
Oh,
That's probably why they used the mall because they
Awesome.
probably got it for cheap.
Well, it was abandoned.
Yeah.
The mall's been abandoned
Oh.
for like 6-7 years, something like that.
Probably
Oh,
got
wow.
it for cheap.
And so they actually did all. They got to do
Renovations.
whatever
That
they
is
want. Redid all the
so
renovations. Yeah.
just so we're all aware, if like the mind flayer shows up,
Thanks, Gwinnett
you
County.
knew.
Out of all the abandoned
You
malls
knew.
in the
You
world.
knew.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know how many
that's the
abandoned
one.
malls there are?
Yeah, but that's the one, you know?
Yeah,
That's
but
the one.
if you,
That's the
Yeah,
one
we
one.
know. No, I follow you. I
There's
follow you,
a
Caitlin.
there's a subreddit on Reddit. I don't do Reddit.
there's a
so
subreddit.
there's a subreddit called Abandoned Earth.
There's a subreddit on the Reddit.
on
On
the
the
Reddits called Abandoned Earth, and it's just all sorts
Oh,
of
yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
abandoned
And
places, and it's
nature's
really cool.
like taking back over,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I seen
Theme
those.
parks, hospitals, just all sorts of really cool
It's
stuff.
really nice.
Check it out.
And you can follow our Instagram profile on Instagram.
what?
On the Instagram.
Never gonna live it
on
down.
the IGs.
On
as
the
people
That's your
say.
Interwebs.
website, dude.
Yeah, I
Reddit.
know.
Just open up your web browser, Google search Google. When you go to the website, type in Facebook, click on Facebook to open it, and then
Nerd
search
On.
for Nerd On. Find our Instagram.
No.
This is
No.
coming from the guy who says your
Oh,
your
no.
website
All right.
email.
No,
Oh boy.
no.
When did I say that?
So to get to your photos on your
He said our
phone,
internet email.
you open up your camera, and then at the bottom.
Okay,
there's-
anyway.
I can't wait for that to happen in Stranger Things. Do you
I'm
think they'll
sorry what I've done.
Do you think they'll bridge into the 90s at all?
No, I don't think so.
They'll get into maybe
unless it's
late-
like a flash
late
forward,
80s,
They
Yeah.
wouldn't be
right?
kids. Then.
Late
Shall we go
80s.
to favorite characters?
Yeah, I mean, I could go on.
I wasn't
there's a lot of
talking,
favorite
Josh.
parts.
Yeah. there's
Okay,
like a-
cool.
I can go on forever.
My
but-
favorite part.
We just don't normally
parts
go
was
30,
season
35 minutes, so I
3.
was like, oh,
yeah,
oh
I
wow.
know.
But yeah, if it goes into the 90s, that'd be interesting if it's a jump. But then also like it would be like Days of Future. It'd be X-Men.
Yeah.
I feel like it won't be that
Where
far
no one
in the
ages.
future
Well,
for
it's
season
kinda like-
4.
And then suddenly they age.
Like going into getting like computer. Like they have.
Yeah.
Like they're slowly getting more and more technology as we go along, which is like the modernization of the world. Like you ever watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Mhm.
Yeah, the freeways thing.
Oh,
that's why the
yeah.
whole mall thing where it's like
I feel like there's something quaint. I mean, the thing about the show is that the setting and the time period really
Well,
do define it.
the Duffer Brothers said that the reason why they wanted to go with the 80s is because in the 80s, when you actually went out with your friends, you didn't have a cell phone.
right.
So you
Right.
couldn't call mom and dad when you're in trouble.
yeah.
And they even have that in the scene. I don't know. You know, it's the summer. Where are they?
And
Yeah.
like, and that's the big thing where it's like, if you and your friend and they go with like Dustin and Harrington, they're like, they go on travel, they can discover a whole world. It felt reasonable to discover pirate treasure. It
Yeah.
felt reasonable to do those things.
Right.
But once you move on and they age, which they fucking will,
Once you have smartphones and
then some of that stuff goes away, which I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. But it'd be interesting, like, you know, digital cameras or pixels.
Well, I
and
think
shit
that's
like that.
part of the compelling part of the show. Is the reason why it works is because all they had is a walkie-talkie.
Well, it's like, what's gonna happen when Game
They
Boy
always had
and all
a
that
cell
shit?
phone.
Yeah.
oh, there you go.
That would be, I mean,
car
it's,
phone.
Car phone.
because even if you look at the 80s versus the 90s, I mean, even the early 90s, there's such a a vast like
Yeah.
if you refer to media and movies and stuff like that, it's like the whole world went, let's move on
Yeah.
and change.
That was a wild time
Well,
in the 80s. Anyway,
I could. No, that's like early '90s. Never mind, because I was like last
American
season.
Psycho.
Well, season 1 was like D&D. Season 2 was like let's go to the arcade. Season 3 let's go to the mall. Season 4 I'm like, would they all stay at home and play on their computer and just aim? But I'm like, that's early '90s.
That's mid
Mid
to late
90s.
90s.
So
for
it's
AIM.
like that's a
That
whole
could be a
10
theme they
It's a whole
could play
10
with.
years later. But it's like, what would be their shtick for season 4?
Stranger Things in college.
No,
There you go.
All right. Anyways, now I guess if you want to go to favorite characters,
We don't have to. If I was just, it was just a.
So favorite
we could.
characters are
Mine is Robin.
Robin.
and side
She's
character.
so cool.
Wait, who the fuck are the side? Everyone's a side character.
Everyone's a
the
side
main.
character.
Everyone's a
Everyone's
side.
Okay.
I think Robin and Billy are my favorites. Not that I don't think Billy is wholly redeemed. I think it makes sense of why he is the way he is, but I don't think he was like redeemed by the end. But I still liked him a lot, just from how good he was at being.
He had
who
the most
was.
dramatic acting.
He was
Right.
phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, he was so
That dude's
good.
got talent up the wahoo.
And
as far
I
as
was
acting
reading
goes.
that he was studying, I think it was like schizophrenic, people with multiple personalities, and that's
see
how
that.
he like figured out how to have that like
I thought you were
that
doing
tension
Korean
of
hearts.
Yep, that's it. No, how he was like had one person controlling the other, but they were constantly at war with themselves, and I
Yeah.
think that came
Yeah.
through really strongly. He did a really good job.
I can almost see him be like the next Jesse Plemons, where he's just in everything.
Yeah.
Jesse
Oh, yeah.
Plemons is shout out to my boy Borowski. I say he looks like him, but he's in everything, and it's just like he's just kind of this off the wall chameleon like actor.
Arguably steals the show in Game Night if you've seen that movie.
He's in Black Mirror, the one with the Star Trek episode. He's
He's
in
also in the
was-
one with Johnny Depp.
Black
also
Mass.
Black Mass.
He was in Breaking Bad. He's been in a lot of things. And
You'd
he just-
recognize him.
Yeah, he has a very, but like he's just it's like it's that guy, or like what's his face? He was Angel in X-Men.
Oh,
that guy?
from Punisher and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Like
get-
him.
I know his name. It'll come back to me.
Giovanni.
No,
that's Giovanni Ribisi.
He's also phenomenal. But yeah, I
No,
know
he
what
just
you're
was-
talking about.
oh, okay,
No,
yeah,
don't.
yeah. That's
I
a
want to
different
do
person.
it. Don't tell me.
Was he in? What was he in
Anywho.
before X-Men?
I know his
Anyways,
name.
so favorite characters for anyone else?
Well, Tom, who's my favorite character?
It's Lucas.
100%.
I was actually had a moment of tension
Just me going,
just
"No."
from yeah. I was like, oh my god,
No,
is Tom
it's
gonna get it
Lucas.
wrong?
Still, like through and through, Lucas all day. To me, I can't stop watching him when he's on screen. I think I loved his character arc of being the boyfriend who knows the ins and outs, and like clearly the two of them are meant for each other, Max and him, because they just like get at each other's nerves, but then will fall madly in love, and then
Yeah.
like loved it, giving Mike advice and all that kind of stuff. And his moments, he fucking comes through when you need him. Do you know what I mean? He shows up whenever, like his slingshot moment to distract the mind flayer, the fireworks idea, like he comes through. It's great. Love it.
Ben Foster.
Yeah. Fuck you, dude. Come on.
I'm not gonna leave the audience just like I wonder when they're gonna get it. I'm screaming at the audio.
I was maybe when I'm done talking. Are then side characters?
Yeah, if you want.
Or maybe just as secondary, since everyone feels equally important in this.
They're all meat slushies.
I'll say Steve Harrington and Robin is one, and then shout out to Alexi.
Oh yes, Alexi.
My favorite Hopper all day,
Every day.
and especially when he got petty, when he was like, I don't know, maybe 7:00 at a restaurant. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Oh, I was so annoyed.
I love that shit. I love
so
that
annoyed at that.
Because I would be totally on that. I was like, yeah, fucking, you took your time out of the day. You got this nice shirt. Like, you got wine. You worked so hard. She said no at first, and then she said yes. And then you got.
Yeah,
so
whole
Hop.
bottle.
So Hop. Yeah, I know, right? I'm the sheriff. What are you going to do? Arrest me?
Murray.
Murray's what?
That's the guy's name who speaks Russian. Who's the translator.
Oh, yeah.
I take it back. I take back that guy steals every scene he's in.
He's
for
great.
me. Yeah.
But he also had a great bromance with Alexi.
Yeah.
So Hopper is main guy,
Okay.
and I think Finn, because I think I think 11.
Mike,
but
you mean?
Finn? Oh yeah,
Mike.
yeah, Mike or 11. Because the thing is, I like it for both their reasons. Like Mike has to learn how to understand growing up, and learning how 11 is becoming a woman, and how her relationship between other girls is having to turn out to be.
And
11.
how he needs to let the fuck go. a little bit.
Well, how he needs to let go, how he can't be just like, like it's that clingy high school relationship
Yeah.
moment, but
Yeah.
also like the first time they broke up is probably the most amount of growth they've had individually since
Yeah.
they've lived in the same place. Like when it's real growth, it's not convenient. And so like she's trying to figure out like how like sisterhood's gonna go, like dressing up, finding out her taste and stuff. And also like to say no to her dad, but also like to like do as much as she can to like love him and fight for him. So they're both discovering the realms of like in a relationship, out of a relationship, and how you have to complement each other as individuals instead of just being like we're attached at the mouth the entire time.
Yeah.
So
3 inches.
so so Hopper and then Mike and 11 as my second.
Cool. I dig it.
Okay. My favorite is Steve Harrington.
Steve the Hair
Yeah,
Harrington.
he's good.
I loved every part of his
Yeah.
acting, and especially with him and Robin. And then I think Elle's actually,
The truth serum bit was fucking brilliant.
That was real good.
and then Elle, even though she's not a side character, but she's my other.
I
shout
don't
out.
think we're doing side characters. I was just thinking,
Yeah.
just naming your favorite characters. at
Yeah,
this
I
point.
loved
Yeah.
her performance and her kind of like still innocent, kind of trying to adjust to being a normal
Normal
girl
not being
or whatever.
experimented on.
I love
Right.
that she has hair now.
Yeah, she has hair.
They let her grow her hair.
Yeah.
So I just really dug what they were doing with their character, and she always knocks it out of the park anyways.
She had hair in
Yeah.
season 2.
She had short hair.
Short hair.
It was there.
Shoulder
Exactly.
length curly hair.
But now there's no excuse. You can
Right.
just let her grow her hair.
Yeah.
So yeah,
just wow.
her and
I-
Max.
Josh and Josh.
I actually have the same. 11 is probably like my number one top character.
She's number 1-1.
My number one together. I
All the 11 puns come out.
I
Not Joyce.
I just really enjoy watching her just discover
Never
things
Joyce.
about being her. I actually really like Joyce.
And you also have
sorry.
a crush on Winona Ryder.
and I do.
Yeah.
You got a fat crush on her.
My next
PH.
would be definitely Steve. Just anytime he's on
Yeah.
screen and his growth from season 1 to
Oh, he's a
season 3
Fucking asshole.
is just so fantastic and like
It's a great
especially-
character arc.
especially in the scene that you brought up, Caitlin, in the bathroom when they are having that discussion and just the way that he takes it and the way that he decides to go with
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, that.
That's the
So
new Steve.
natural.
Yeah.
But
That's
also
not the
how like
season 1 Steve.
he finally wins his first fight.
Yeah.
And
you
also-
want to fight?
By like,
And also like he sacrifices himself.
Now I'm
Goodness,
punching the
you're
mic.
punching the mic
Way to
too.
go, Josh. I know.
and how he sacrifices himself to help Dustin and Erica.
Yeah.
Like he's like, go now. And it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's willing to fall on the sword.
When Dustin mocks Hopper in the mall too, I just remember that. He's like, no, you need a navigator. There's no way you could do it.
Caitlin,
Or said-
you heard that?
Yeah.
We all went around.
Yeah,
we
We've all
went
gone
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
we
So
did.
now it's qualms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Qualms for okay. I want to go first.
Okay.
Okay.
I have one off the bat, and it irritated the shit out of me. Continuity messed me up. I stopped looking at it because I was like, I'm looking at this way too hard now.
Because now I just kept noticing it. The biggest glaring one, I think, was by episode 2, and it was when Harrington, Dustin, and Robin are all trying to decipher the Chinese, like, or Russian, the fucking cipher.
Yeah.
And it's like the Wolf of East.
Definitely
and-
Russian.
Yeah, whatever. It is. But it
That's
says
the whole point of the show.
it says China in it.
Yes, but it's not Chinese.
But they said Panda Express, and I was like, oh, it's Chinese.
Yeah.
So there's a moment. So there's
American
a
food.
shot. It's a low angle 2 shot of Harrington and Dustin, and there's a 1 shot reverse shot of
Robin.
Maya Hawke. Yeah, and Harrington's eating a banana, and then he finishes the banana, throws the banana down, finishes the line, goes back to Maya, goes back to him. Banana's in his hand, and it's not even eaten. And then all of a sudden they're talking, and it goes back to him. And then you see back in her shot, the banana is in frame on the table. It goes back to him. The banana is still in his hand, and then he
Oh,
eats it, and then he
no.
puts it in his other hand, and then goes back to him. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
I did not notice that
Oh
at all.
my
I didn't
God.
notice that.
And
I
Corey?
just remember there being a banana, but nothing else.
I'm going to make this personal. This is why I never will suggest us do any eating scenes ever in anything, because continuity is a fucking bitch.
Mikey has
Yeah.
to eat a banana in something.
Well,
sometime.
I eat
Just-
in my
just so
scenes,
that's
but
said
it's
out loud.
always a bowl of cereal.
It's
because
something
you
that
can
you
never
can't
tell.
mix.
It's something you can't mix.
I just keep pouring a little more cereal, a little more milk, and go.
Yeah.
No.
When I had to do that, it
There's
was just
actually
mixing a
42
bowl.
loops in the first frame.
Infinite.
Oh
And
my
when it comes
God.
back to them, there's 36.
Well,
loops.
if it's
What
like
happened?
Cocoa Puffs, where it's like that's black and that's white.
Yeah, no.
It's like, oh my god. But like this was like, oh my god, did no one
see this? Did
Nope.
no one realize like,
Nope.
hey guys?
No, someone did, and they went, no one's gonna care.
And then I was like,
And then there
so
was
glaring.
Tom.
It was just so glaring because he made it such a big part of his performance that
Right.
he threw the banana on the table. I was like, all right, I better see that banana.
They probably
there.
edited it in a different sequence than they shot it.
Well, for sure, like he probably ate 5
Yeah.
bananas that day.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was like,
So much potassium.
I was like, that sucks. But also, I'm like,
I really like
banana
bananas.
stuff.
They are good.
So I mean, stuff like that was kind of littered throughout here and there. But I was like, that was like the most glaring. I'm like, whoever was script supervisor that day will be a script supervisor for the next season too. But no one's gonna care. Also the formulaicness a little bit of like. And that's why I say sorry, Corey. I kind of spilled the
Sorry?
beans a little bit, and I said like it's a little formulaic of the second season because hey, guess what? They're split up and then they don't get back together until
Oh,
7th
yeah, no, I know.
episode. And then all of a
And
sudden,
then guess what happens when they get back together?
they all die.
They all split up.
They all die. And
So good to see you, Dustin. Bye.
I know, and it's kind of interesting where they're kind of like Dustin's more part of Harrington's faction instead of
Yeah,
like
it didn't bug me this. It didn't bug me as much this time around as it did in
Yeah.
season 2.
well because they were having fun. They weren't misplaced in this
Right.
weird like I don't know where my feelings are. They were
Also-
like, hey, let's have fun and let's do some crazy shit.
Also, there was no B plot that you disliked.
Yeah,
Like maybe in season 2, I think there was like Elle's B plot when she was off.
in the city with 8.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or the hairspray in season 2.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, they got a little formula where I was like, I guess we're not gonna see it. Like by episode 4, I was like, I'm not gonna see them back together till episode 7, and then I was just like dreading that moment because I was like, well, I don't like if anything happens, it has to be within the confines of this screen. It can't be like all of a sudden the kids show up and things are fine, or it's like all of a sudden 11 shows up and things are gonna be fine. It's like no, they're gonna just either lose the Russian or not lose the Russian. They're either gonna get killed by these guys or not get killed by these guys. Like there's no way anything else is gonna happen, and it's a little limiting in that fact, or like. I just kind of, I mean, in good way or bad way, right? Like it isolates me into that scene, or it like makes me feel like limited. Where it's like, why do we have this ensemble when I haven't seen?
Well, what you're doing is
I haven't
they're-
seen Nancy and Jonathan with anyone ever.
Yeah, it's kind of a trade-off. It's like you get to see them as an ensemble, but then would you rather have that, or would you rather have more intimate character?
Well, it's kind of like the only reason like Nancy and Jonathan are doing anything is so that the world will find out about it.
Yeah.
They're not even really solving the issue.
Right.
Right? Like 11's like, boom, the mind flayer's back. It's like, cool, these guys don't know what the hell's going on. And it's like, oh, there's Russians. Oh, they know that old people are eating fertilizer that has almost no bearing on anyone else. They're just kind of almost fun, campy 80s throwbacks of like horror films
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
discovering that shit, but like nothing, it doesn't really push the plot.
Yeah.
It kind of serves the story and you have fun, but it doesn't
Yeah.
push the plot.
I was very uncomfortable. It's like a qualm, but it's a qualm that makes sense given where this story is taking place in their lives.
Yeah.
There was so many times where people would push the envelope in ways that you're just like, no, don't do that. Where like Hopper's being really pushy about going on a date, and you could tell she's really not that into it, but he's super pushy about it. And then Max is like giving terrible advice. Lucas is giving terrible advice. They're being like shitty to
I don't know, man.
Will-
Lucas
Advice
is
was
giving
pretty
some
good.
sound advice.
Mike didn't follow any of
Sound.
it.
Hey, I'm gonna say this: if I had
you're
some
13?
friends when I was that age to give me some girl advice, fuck, this guy takes the cake. He's like, yo,
But
Yeah, I get what you're
still,
saying.
like as kind of a blanket, everybody's making all these decisions. That's like, are you sure that's like the best route to
I
go
mean,
things?
Yeah.
But-
flawed, right?
but-
Flawed characters.
Yeah, everybody
Challenging.
felt
Yeah.
flawed, but this is like the growth season. This is them like figuring life out and figuring out
Yeah.
how to navigate life.
hormones.
It's hormones. So this was like the hormonal season of
Which I'm
figuring out
about.
how to
Degrassi.
deal with
Yeah.
with each other and relationships and what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So it was like uncomfortable. So that's like a qualm, but it's not a qualm because
Because
it
it's
makes
part of the
sense.
story.
It's
because
baked- it's
part of
baked
the
in.
It's like
story.
what Patrick Williams says. He goes, if all the characters always did logical things all the time, you'd be watching the most boring fucking movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, well,
Right.
it's baked into the DNA of it because that's where it's kind of come to.
Right.
If we got like another break where they're like adults, it's another question. But then they'd be dealing with like quote unquote millennial issues of trying to find
Taxes.
jobs.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then it's like, but then they do the whole thing where it's like, oh, they go out when they should really be saving money for rent. It's like, don't do that. But it's like, if you did the right thing, why the fuck am I watching?
I think
Yeah.
I think it just
Just
bothered
an
me
hour of Mike applying
because
for healthcare.
because everybody was framed in
Stranger Things.
framed in the way of like they were annoyed with it.
Mhm.
Everybody was annoyed with things that were happening. So it made me be like, I'm annoyed too.
Yeah,
Why
like,
am I annoyed?
You want more like positive victories.
Well, like it's
Kinda
fine to have
sprinkled.
those moments of like not being sure and growing and making bad decisions, but when your characters are so annoyed that it makes me feel annoyed, I feel like there might have been a different way to approach it, just so that I don't feel the
So
discomfort
annoyed?
all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like a relatability, and I think it goes to the nth degree for you,
Right.
Like relationships are hard for especially kids who don't know what
Yeah.
the hell they're doing. They don't even
Oh,
know what
yeah,
to do
yeah, yeah.
below their belly button, right?
Right.
And then pressure from adults and stuff like that.
And then like, but,
But
then,
then
yeah,
the adults are also
the
making
parents are telling
terrible
them, yeah,
decisions.
you can't. Well, the parents are telling them you can't date, and it's like we don't even know how to date.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you were my first love, and this is the love
And
language I have.
You're also watching characters that are all coming from trauma
But-
too.
Right.
So they all do have these
Yeah.
terrible decisions to make
Like-
because they haven't known how to make the right ones.
that
yet.
was actually one of my things that like I wish they would have done more with Will, because he's the biggest trauma case, and I think they should have played with that more.
Right. It felt like they just kind of were like, go over here.
But then like juxtaposing like the kids trying to figure out their relationships and hormones and shit like that versus Harrington trying to figure out his place in the world,
Right.
dating a girl who like is or interested in a girl who's still in high school, and like him finding out that like after high school popularity doesn't mean shit.
Right.
And it's Dustin. To me, Dustin's like the most well-rounded kid in the show of this season,
Mhm.
because he's like, why don't you stop worrying about whoever makes you look cool and worry about the person that makes you feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's the golden childhood like knowledge that we as adults don't have.
Yeah.
But that's
Well, he
kind of I
found
think
love.
what you want out of everyone. But he's the only one
Well-
that doesn't have a girlfriend there with the entire time.
Right.
But he found love. Like he's the only one who's really.
Who is the
figured it out.
girl like but better
Susie.
looking?
Susie.
Oh,
better
it
than
was the
Kate.
girl from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Kate
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, the girl in the red bathing suit. Well, that he knocks over at the end. The one he knocks over at the end. He's like, "Oh, Fast Times. That's up there for sure. Favorite movies. That's it. That's my list. That's the girl."
Oh.
Yeah, and they're like, "Better looking than her?" Yeah, or I don't think so. Because that was at that time
Yeah.
that was a huge thing because she showed her chest on film in a dream sequence, and it was like every
Phoebe Cates?
yeah Phoebe Cates.
Phoebe Cates.
It was
There
like
it is.
every teenager's
That was close.
dream come true.
Dream.
Yeah. For me, Tom, do you know what my qualm's gonna be?
Not enough Lucas.
No, it's not.
But
gonna
also
be
that they didn't tie in any of the other numbers things.
Nope.
That's another one.
That did was
That
a
is-
for me as well.
Mr. Clark.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So adding on top of that,
Hashtag more Clark.
no,
want it.
Not enough Clark, and also not enough Murray.
Yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
The thing is, like you're saying, they're coming together where they're figuring out.
Murray,
with
I
the
had
show.
enough. I had a good amount of Murray.
that
I got a good amount.
was
of
a good
Murray.
amount.
You gotta-
Except
you gotta-
I could have taken more, but it did feel
But
acceptable.
we got a lot
weren't
of it.
robbed of it. We
There was
were
only
robbed
one
of Clark,
scene with Clark.
Yeah.
and he's only there for like a part of it.
Yeah.
We got a lot of Murray in season 2, but the thing is, again, the show's trying to figure out is trying to figure out what it is, and I think that what's happening is that like Henderson and Harrington are really good. Hopper needs to kind of like he's a little too dominant, and the kids need to be at the forefront of it, and that's why like these adult other characters are
It's
kind of going in the
tossed aside.
background.
I'm glad
like,
he was there, but like, damn.
like
dude.
again, Barb, done.
He had
like
a dope
season 2,
introduction though.
like season 2, they
Did.
talked about Barb, and then this
Yeah.
one, nope. And so this
She's
one,
gone.
are they going to talk about any of the girls that died in this season? Are they going to talk about the mayor dying? Like
Yeah.
probably not.
Are they
I
going to talk about all of the people that became part of the Mind Flayer?
Yeah, that's what
They're
The
gonna have to
entire
deal with
community?
that for sure. But yeah, not enough Clark. Josh,
Oh, we're holding hands.
I'm holding hands because I'm sorry. Winona Ryder, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I love you, and I'm sorry this is gonna hurt you. It just to me, because I love her in Edward Scissorhands. Like I grew up on that film. I love her in Beetlejuice. Like she's fucking perfect in that movie. There's something about this show and her approach to the character of Joyce that isn't reading as genuine to me, and it takes me out of most scenes. The thing that keeps her scenes together for me personally
is everyone else.
is David Harbour. Like her acting
Oh.
partner is fucking phenomenal. But there's one scene in particular that just like it was very high school theater acting, and it really took me out of it. She was like playing a different character because in that moment she was supposed to be like sad and like, oh, it doesn't matter, like what's gonna happen here. They're in the base together.
Oh, it's when she sees Newbie.
No, they're in the Russian base and she's sitting down and David Hart. They're just
Oh.
kind of waiting. And she has this thing about like, yeah, I'm gonna move or whatever, and she's all cool all of a sudden when she's been frantic, and it just was it doesn't do it for me, and I wish it did because I do like her in those other films, but something about her, she seems like she's 107 years old and she's supposed to be like in her mid 40s or early 50s.
I would say this.
She seems so frail all the time.
I would say this season they kind of like toned back the little Nicolas Cagey craziness of her in this season. The one thing I thought was the one, I think, adequate moment when she was crazy was when she said, "You're gonna do this and you're gonna do that, and you're gonna tell me why my magnets are falling."
I liked that moment. I liked that
because she has to have one crazy thing every season. That's
a lot
her
of her facial choices just keep reminding me of the thing she did on stage with David Harbour at the awards ceremony.
Oh,
and I can't do it.
What did she do?
That's
what I'm doing right now.
That's
I'm just like
100% what she did. I'll show it to you after. But
I'm flailing around everyone that's listening.
That besides that, I don't really have a whole lot for this one. I kind of got everything I really wanted and expected out of it.
Yeah.
I got some great new characters. I got to, even though Miss Clark wasn't there very much, I got to see all the characters I wanted to see and I love. Right? I even got to see Mike's dad, who I think is the most 80s dad looking person I've ever seen
oh my God,
in my
very much.
entire life.
Taking care of kids.
So and Carrie Elwes is in it. Like, how do you beat
as you
Princess
wish.
Bride? Yeah. So I loved the Terminator references. I don't have a whole lot of qualms on this one, except that I can't wait for season 4.
Good.
Josh,
qualms?
My qualms, it really did, you already mentioned this, but it really did bother me that in season 2, they made a big deal about these other test subjects.
Yeah.
And then in this one, it wasn't touched at all. Because the thing about season 2 is I thought that was like a really interesting tidbit that I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm interested. And then I didn't realize until the credits rolled on the last episode that I was like, wait a minute. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
we never got any.
We never got that at all, and it's not a qualm that's enough for it to ruin it for me. I was just like, what the f?
I kind of liken it to Tron Legacy, and shout out to my boy Ian who said it. In Tron Legacy, there's this really cool white like prototype motorcycle, and the main character rides it into the city, and that's all you see it.
Oh,
They're like, yeah, this is the prototype, and he's like, cool, boom, and then someone
the
else,
rest of the movie.
someone else rides off, and it's like, what the fuck? You're like, I more, please.
Doesn't ruin the movie.
I was
but,
I was also kind of wondering where that organization went. Like, I know that they got eaten a lot.
Yeah,
most
they were
of them.
dismantled in season 2.
But then
Right.
they still work, and they were at the cleanup at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
so-
the secret organization that he was talking
That
to on
Harvard
the
called.
phone.
Yeah.
And then she got on and was like, now listen here, this is what you're going to do. Like,
Right.
it's that organization.
I don't know. I felt like there wasn't enough of
The
that.
one that they had Matthew Modine and like
I think they were trying to make a bigger statement because here's the other thing about like entertainment culture. What they do is they use the enemy of the world at the time. So it's like
the Russians.
the Russians are the enemy.
Okay.
So they were making a bigger kind of
Deal
statement
out
of
of them.
like,
Yeah.
well, that's what they have established as the enemy of the world. I'm going to hold your hand for this one.
Yeah.
Because I know this is something that you like.
He's
so
like,
I'm really
I
sorry.
hate Lucas.
I just could not stand that Hopper was such a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to. I
No,
thought
but
it
you
was-
said that you loved that he was such a dick, and then he came.
Oh, I just liked the
You
art.
have to look
Okay.
at me and say that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you
it.
don't mess around with
Josh
Jim.
knows
No.
not to talk to Tom about
I
any
just-
type of an apology.
Yeah.
Superman. Okay.
Little Jim Croce was great though. That was a nice touch.
I love that's his theme song.
Yeah.
I love
But go.
that
Yeah.
just-
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, it just kept bothering me. Like it was like, why is he being such a dick? Like I couldn't get past it. It really.
Like Joyce was annoyed with him because
Yeah.
he was being a dick. So
No, and
you're
I-
annoyed too.
You know, and it's kind of like, okay, I get where it's
Sexual
coming
tension.
from. I really do get where it's coming from, but it was just so like
do you mean?
jarring. He was just a dick all the time.
I
you
also-
get where it's coming from.
Well,
Like,
he's got a
expand
lot
on
of
that.
frustration about like
Sex.
He's there is that, but there's a lot of new going on in his world in terms of like potential love interest with Joyce.
Well, protests at
his
the
daughter
mayor's
dated,
office.
all the different job stuff that has. Yes, his daughter dating and growing up. I mean, she's
He's- so, like,
becoming a young woman.
The thing that because at first I was really bugged and I talked to Tom a little bit about it and he was like, yeah, and then I kind of realized I was like, he's only being a dick because he's losing her in a different way. He knows
Then
he
he
can
lost-
physically protect her and lost his first daughter, right? But he knows he can protect her physically, but he's losing her in a way that he can't change anything about. And so that's why he's so on top of trying to get Mike out of there. And it's he doesn't know, he's such a brute with things. He doesn't really get, and that's why the letter at the end is such an important thing.
Yeah, of course.
Is because he's losing his daughter in a way that he doesn't know even how to feel about it.
Yeah.
It's such a foreign thing.
Here's the thing. I get it. I still don't like it.
Sure.
Yeah, like I get it from an emotional standpoint and from a character arc. It really,
what
really
would you have
rubbed me
preferred in that case?
To be perfectly honest,
So he's a nice
do
guy?
not.
There you go.
I mean, I haven't thought that deep into it, except
That's
that it didn't jive with
Just
me
a little-
based on what I've known of his character up until this point.
So like the protectiveness made sense, but maybe
It
less
made
of a
sense,
dick.
but I think it's like a decision was made, and it just was made like hardcore.
Wasn't fun to watch.
It wasn't. It was like I completely understand it from an acting standpoint and an intention standpoint.
Well, there's a way to be protective without being a dick.
Exactly.
Well, there's a way to be crazy without being Winona.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely
That's
not.
what how you would change Winona Ryder. You just not have Winona Ryder.
My only
So many
other
words.
qualm
Rachel
is it's the newspaper part of Nancy's storyline.
Oh, yeah.
That was so uncomfortable.
It was, but that was kind of
Lettuce.
the time. It was kind of the time, which is shitty. But my problem with it was kind of I didn't think that she needed it to inspire her to go and do what she wanted to do.
Sounds
Right,
a
'cause
problem.
She was already that way.
She was already
She climbed
Nancy
into a
Drew.
bloody
Why we
tree.
made that joke in our first
Climbed into a bloody tree.
yeah.
She doesn't need someone to tell her she's a woman.
It's the Sansa Stark problem.
yeah.
The Sansa Stark problem, which is like the Trinity effect. So there's like names for these things. The Sansa Stark problem, I call it.
You brought up the
other
Trinity effect in the first one, too.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you totally
Yeah.
did.
So I don't but so the Sansa Stark effect, which happens now after seasons of Game of Thrones, is that the showrunners say and have said Sansa Stark is strong because she's been through so much. And she's been through rape, she's been through all this shit happening to her family, and where the rest of the audience and the writers all kind of understands like she's not strong because of those things. She's strong in spite of those things.
Yeah.
And so Nancy Drew can be the detective that she wants to be, not because she's running against opposition, but because she's curious and she's in a world that allows it to happen.
Yeah.
To me, in that sense, I just want to see a shitty Jake Busey.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
those teeth.
It was still entertaining.
It was entertaining from a standpoint of like, holy shit, but it wasn't necessary except to make you feel
and
uncomfortable
have commentary on the
and
time.
and it's like
So much
and even
uncomfortable.
even those guys' place in the hospital scene of being kind of chasing them, it's like they didn't really need to be there because the main monster is pretty hardcore anyway. So it was one of those.
But they had to make the monster.
They had to make the monster, but it's like I don't know, they could have been there even if they didn't have the newspaper
Would you-
scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
Would you say like, would it just like they're in the hospital, then boom, the monster shows up?
yeah, I mean, it's like Billy and his girl have already made the monster in a sense.
Yeah.
Like they're feeding the monster. They're doing everything that needs to like make the monster stronger.
Oh, I just remembered the decomposing part where they turn into a blob pile and go
Yeah.
on-
My
gross.
favorite.
No, no, no,
thing.
no, no.
Doritos.
It's straight up the thing.
Doritos.
So it was just
Leave.
kind of a part of the where I was like, well, it belittled Nancy in a way that I was like, I just thought that she was such a strong
I
character.
don't like it.
I don't like it.
I mean, did you think she was not strong by that point?
No, it was just I felt like they were putting her in her place, which is weird to me.
I think
Yeah.
that's cool in a sense where it's like a commentary on the like even boyfriend Charlie Heaton, wherever the fuck his name is, was like, hey, this is a job. This is the only job we got. And he's worried because of his parents like leaving the house and all that shit. Well, her, she's like, fuck this job. I'm going to do what I want to do. So it's kind of a little bit of like the American woman can do. So it's kind of nice in that sense, but it does kind of suck that
It doesn't. It's not necessary. You can still get that without them being the catalyst for her story following.
I want to kind of take it a little further and say like it kind of sucks and doesn't feel necessary because it's actually a pretty true reality.
Yeah.
They could have just been more side comments than the
Catalyst.
drawn out thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just mean like they were so long. Those scenes of her getting
Yeah.
like belittled were really long. They could have been like passing comments where you're like,
It didn't feel like
"Ooh."
Stranger Things sometimes. It felt like
Yeah.
this is her own show.
Mad Men.
It felt like
Mad
this is a
Men,
comment
yes.
on. Yeah. So those are. I mean, everybody's already said
yeah.
my qualms. So.
Any other qualms?
Mine, the only one that I really had was I found it, although it was, it's sort of, again, I'm kind of torn, but like just the convenience of having a Russian base underneath the mall
Yeah.
They happen to be. They happen to work in.
It's hokey.
It's a little hokey,
Contrived.
a little contrived, and I'm like, Stranger Things 2019. I feel like it could have come up with something a little bit more creative.
I don't think it's hokey or contrived, mainly
No.
because like
to
it's
get to the
Goonies.
same place. Well, no, to get to the same
Yeah.
place, you could have done something a bit more modern, a bit more.
You mean getting to the
Believable.
elevator thing?
Yeah, well, to get me
She's
to
just
believe.
talking about the story.
Yeah,
Oh.
something like the mall used to be like by the Russian mafia. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
slip something
I
in
mean,
there
it's-
where to make me believe like they built the mall to disguise their base.
It's one
like,
cousin removed from it being built on an Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But
like,
it's a sim-
Yeah.
but
that's a
it's-
huge trope of it.
It's
I think.
one line symptom where it's like you just give me one. You could have given me one line, and I would have not cared anymore after that. But that
But
was
it
the
wasn't
only.
enough to like
It was because it's like
Still
for half a
enjoyable.
second, and then you enjoy the rest
The-
of the scene.
the-
And
them
it's-
so decoding it's enough.
Yeah,
for you to be
yeah,
Like, oh,
you're
I
like,
love
this
the
is fine.
length of the elevator
Oh my
is
god.
That was
actually a bit of a
ridiculous.
qualm for me.
I love that though.
just
It goes
because
pretty
of
deep.
how excessive.
But also
has to be
the
that.
length of the
because that's how
hallways.
far they go. It's a mine shaft before.
It's probably that's where the portal
That
is.
makes
From the
sense.
seconds. Yeah, it is because they had. Remember
Yeah,
how far
you
they
have to
went
go
down in the
deep.
mine shaft that
Yeah.
first second
A
season.
mine.
A mine shaft.
All right.
And then
Hey,
yeah,
they're
A
talking about-
mall.
They're talking about Lord of the Rings.
And they call it a mall.
A mall.
That
Oh my
would've been
God.
amazing. Oh, I would love if like one of the fucking Lord of the Rings people make a cameo. Oh, another one.
No.
just make a spoof.
Can't.
A
They
skit.
did.
Superhero.
The one.
Bob
Wow.
movie superhero.
Another
Yeah.
one.
I'll say another. Oh,
Samwise.
They already had him. Then they have to have like one of the Goonies, Josh Brolin,
What was that? Samwise didn't carry Frodo up that Mount Doom to remember his.
Bob Newby, and that guy from 51st Dates.
Yeah.
Fuck that
God,
shit. You internet
51st
kids
Dates.
fucking enrage me. Like, I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan here, but goddamn.
Sean Ashton was actually very touched by
No.
all of the.
He was touched by the three pictures, and one
Yes.
showing him Bob Newby says, generation loves a hero that shows them their heart.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm like, yeah, because Sean Ashton is the
Was
hero.
Rudy the third?
He's
What
the hero of Lord of the Rings.
It's basically Samwise.
What was
in
his
season
third?
2.
Huh?
Anywho,
What was the third?
It
anywho.
was like,
Yeah.
anyway, I'll
Yeah,
show you.
yeah.
But anyways, that was really the only qualm that I had. And the other one that I really didn't like, I felt like
The whole cast.
What's his name got the short end of the stick? Charlie Heaton's character, the boyfriend.
Oh.
He got a
Jonathan?
couple. He got a-
The non-supportive
yeah,
boyfriend?
Jonathan. He got a couple like red room gags, but that was, or like whatever.
He was
room
hardly
gags.
ever in the
But
show.
he wasn't.
He
I
got
was
the
hoping
one
he
speech
would
to Nancy.
contribute. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Or
his
two,
whole-
I guess.
You know what his
Two.
big shtick was in the first one, right?
Nothing. It was
true.
I take pictures of Nancy because I'm
But
a
he was a
creep.
big brother though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then how much of a big brother was he in this first season? None, because the brother wasn't there.
For I felt that, but for me, he had just sprinkled enough for me to like redeem
enough.
it. So like the one that really turned like this, I almost said turned around for me, was when the monster backs off and they're like, oh, it's leaving us alone. And he's like, I don't think so. And he turns the car around and goes directly back to the mall. Like immediately snaps into like, nope, I know where it's going. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I was
Let's go
waiting for
back and
sick.
protect them.
I was waiting for him to get the bat with the barbed wire or some shit.
Yeah, I would have liked him to do a little more too.
I did like his
like that
conversation
actor.
with Nancy about how she's like, you don't get it. It's
You're
hard to
spoiled."
be
Yeah.
a woman, and he's like,
Oh,
you
they're-
don't know what it's like to be poor.
Well, they're having the privilege conversation.
Right.
Which I think
that
was great.
was a wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
conversation.
again, like as you see, Joyce and him are like victims of the mall.
yeah.
They're a
Right.
great duo though. I love their dynamic.
Oh yeah.
They're
great-
dating in
they're
real
dating,
life.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. They have been since season 1.
Yeah.
Oh,
One of my friends saw them at the Apple Store. They were together and all that shit. So I was like,
gosh dang it, that's great.
but they're someone.
That
I don't believe
chemistry.
this. If you guys listen to this,
chemistry.
Natalia Dyer and Charlie Heaton, if you listen to this, I just saw it. I thought it was funny. Someone said they look like they do drugs together really cutely.
Oh, really? I don't like that.
No.
drugs together. I don't get
Wow.
really uncomfortable.
I don't like it.
I don't get where that's so funny.
Anywho,
Wow, we don't rate it.
We don't
No.
rate it.
Yeah.
We're done with qualms. Any gushing? Also, everyone, I'm going to show Ollie this picture.
I mean, hashtag Caleb for Spider-Man. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I knew it was from Rudy.
Uh,
Caleb for
I'll-
Spider-Man, baby.
I'll gush in a way of just saying I'm so, because I said in the first the season 1 and season 2 episode for Stranger Things, I really wanted to, from the beginning, really wanted to like this show.
Right.
And this season redeemed it for
Gave
me.
you the opportunity
I
to.
thought he was
Very
gonna
nice.
say, and I still haven't.
I hate it
and I
still.
still am waiting. But it was I was so happy and relieved when I ended this season. I was like, thank you.
So
We'll call it final reactions.
So this show came out on July 4th, and everyone's all binge mode and all that stuff. And I'm gonna reiterate what I said in the first Stranger Things episode we did on Nerd On. I'm still so miffed that I was all hipster cool. Like, I'm super into Stranger Things. When it first trailer hit, I was like, whoa, Winona Ryder acts still? And then I was like, whoa, 80s theme. I'm all about monsters, all about it. And then everyone's like,
Cool music.
Looks cool. Looks cool. And then when it came out, fucking worldwide phenomenon. I was like,
So
but
good.
I was there. I liked it more than
I was
you.
there with you, Tom.
I was there with you too.
I'll be the link.
The tough
Link
thing
to
was
the past.
the tough thing, even with this season and then all prior seasons, I never watched it when the rest of the world watched it. Like
Right.
they had the biggest, so they had Netflix
Here we
breaking
go.
records, right? So 40
Here we
million
go
people,
again.
40 million people on the first 3 days had finished episode 1.
Wow.
And then they had 80 million that had finished the entire series within like 7 days.
Wow.
And that was like a big record for them.
Tom,
in 7 days.
Tom with his avocado toast and his intelligentsia.
Yeah. Had to,
Wow.
What the fuck does that mean?
because you saw it
Means
first.
you're a hipster.
Before it was cool.
No, I just saw the trailer and I was
Okay.
happy for it because all you had was Orange is the
I
New
got it.
Black, stupid Disney shows, and then House of Cards as your Netflix
That's a
originals.
good point. That's a good point.
And then you had Stranger Things.
Netflix originals were not really.
And
a
then I
thing.
was like, oh shit, this looks fucking dope. Fuck all the other ones. Like, go into this TV world. Like,
Sci-fi.
what other world have we been exploring it on TV?
Mm-hmm. None.
None.
Right?
None.
Like, it was like Breaking Bad. It was like The Sopranos. And then it was like Veronica Mars, whatever the fuck.
I mean,
right?
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time, right? But it was like
That's about it, though.
dark, demony shit. Like the most of that stuff you would get on like sci-fi. And it'd be a sci-fi original movie, which were like as good as Disney original movies, which later on became TV shows if they were that
which
good.
are as good as Netflix.
You know what I'm saying?
Netflix is really starting to like
They pour money.
churn things
They are
out
pouring
900
money.
season 2's
so
coming, baby.
much. Netflix is becoming the mind flayer.
No, it's not.
Slowly absorbing the amount of foreign shows that it's sucking up right now is insane.
Tell me that when you hear that Disney, Hulu, and ESPN are all bundled into one thing. So for
They're the
$12
mind
bucks.
flayer.
They're the
yeah.
mind. They're the
Yeah.
mind.
I saw that.
I'm
and I
very
was like,
quick to
yikes.
change my decision on that.
Well,
yes, it's Disney.
I saw that ad and I was like, Tom's gonna love this.
But I will say, Netflix did throw a 9-figure
I love it.
number at DB Weiss and David Benioff from Game of Thrones showrunners.
Yeah.
So I was like, 9 figures?
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
wait.
that's-
What?
For exclusive
Hundreds of
rights
millions.
for them to do shows and movies.
Yeah.
And movies.
9
Netflix was like,
figures.
here's 9 figures, baby. I was like, God damn, you could kill you kill someone, but nah, figures, motherfucker.
I feel like there aren't.
Ain't no Disney though.
I'm sorry. That just
Disney's-
really made me go.
Disney's throwing billions around for rights.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
they got,
Marvel?
They got 10 digits.
Oh, hey George, how about 4 billion? I don't know.
No.
Just for Star Wars.
Easy.
Wow.
I saw
It's
that,
like Disney Light.
and I can't wait for that. I want that bundle.
I know you do. I know you do.
Anyways, back to Stranger Things, God damn it.
I want it so bad.
I will
It's
say
great.
this.
Oh my gosh.
I did really like how this was a portion of the Mind Flare, and it was kind of like a taste of things to come.
Yeah.
I like that
Because
they.
Because this
I-
was only what was
Oh
still
yeah,
out.
this is just the physical.
while the,
out in the real
This is one part of the Mind Flare.
well, yeah, this is just the part that left Will and didn't make it through
Back
the
through
gate.
the gate, yeah.
Right. So if this is just like a wisp of what possessed
guys.
one small boy, what would happen if the gate was like?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know how they're
Then
all
we get
split up,
Disney.
and we're like, well, where are they going to all come back to Hawkins for some Christmas or something?
Russia.
Maybe. But
Ooh,
what if
Christmas
the
upside.
entire season is in the Upside Down? The entire
Whoa.
season, like maybe episode 1, they're
Well,
all
and
going
they're-
in.
Then
get
they would
sucked
all
in.
die.
Also,
Don't you remember when Harbor was down there? He was
Matt.
like,
You don't.
Matt
Are
Ross?
you talking to me about a sci-fi movie logic? Like, they can write anything they want. To
yeah,
make
why didn't
that
Captain
work.
Marvel put on the glove? Anyways,
Hey,
so
they can
Corey-
have
Matt, Ross.
oxygen air bubbles.
Ross, Matt, listen, I know you listen to the show. Duffer Brothers, listen. Just let me know that Mr. Clark is alive and he was not taken by the Mind Flare and all will be well. Just want to throw that
Oh
out there.
no, I never thought
Yeah.
about
But also
that.
have a
My
little bit
tiny
more
little
time
heart.
devoted to
Yeah, and if he's alive, maybe like
I feel like they would have shown
have him do something. Like
Yeah,
one of my
that's
favorite
true.
things in season 1, and if you listen to the episode, I'll talk about it, is him leaving his date to who's watching the thing
Oh yeah.
to go help them build a sensory deprivation tank. And I just want one more of those moments of just like, hey kids, let me help you out with saving the world real quick. No big deal. I just love teaching.
I would say
I'm Mr. Rogers essentially.
so. Shout out to Greg Wiseman who does Young Justice. He literally said, if you tweet me an idea, I literally can't use it anymore
Oh
because it's a
wow.
legality thing.
Oh yeah.
So those ideas, hopefully. So I'm just saying.
So don't listen to this episode, but do
But
it
look,
anyway.
and you have this legally on record. Use whatever I just said for free. I won't sue ever.
But I also say
You
it'd
said
be
There you go.
everything you've said ever.
No, just
no,
here
you're screwed.
I'll say this.
about Mr. Clark.
I'll say this idea, but you gotta pay me. It'd be cool if we had those like 2 episodes that were a side story that like 11 did with the fucking stupid numbers. But it's with
Wow.
Murray and Mr.
Yeah.
Clark.
Murray and Mr. Clark is an interesting
Because you
pairing.
have the guy who loves people and the guy who hates people, and they're
Together.
smarter than everyone else.
Yeah.
And
They
how
get along, little buddy cop.
Well, they
kind
have
of
to
thing.
build like a new
my
facility
God.
to get
I would
into the
watch
upside
that.
down.
There you
Oh my
go.
God. Oh my
Right?
God.
I'd be into
Please
that.
let this happen in
Murray
the
and
next
Clark.
season.
Murray and Clark, baby.
Right, but because like maybe like the kids go to the upside down. Ollie's story of like the whole scene takes place upside down, and the adults didn't get in the inside, so the adults have to figure out how to get
Duffers,
inside.
you can have that for free too.
No, you gotta pay me.
Those are your parallel plots.
All of Corey's ideas free.
So
Me,
I have
you
an
gotta
idea
pay me.
where they hate each other at first, but then they like each other because they build something to save the world. But
now it's his idea.
now it's my
This
idea.
is the legality thing.
There you go.
Wow.
I just want to see it. Anyway.
But I don't know. I would want
We'll just show run
so
the next season.
albino Demogorgon. I don't know.
I think it is, right?
Well, yeah. I
looked
mean,
like
like
it,
they're
yeah.
going back to Demogorgons, right?
Yeah.
I
Baby
really
dogs.
like the Mind Flayer monstrosity more than Demogorgon. To me, was a little boring.
But I'm trying to wonder what this
What
what's
if
so
now
special
the,
about
now
this
the
one.
adults that are stuck on the outside have to deal with the
'Cause the
Demogorgons?
Demogorgon could stand up before, right?
Yes.
There was
Yeah.
Demodogs and Demogorgons.
Well, what if like, okay, so what I liked about what this was establishing was a bigger world of the Upside Down. So what if different parts of the world have stronger monsters,
Yeah.
stronger mind flayers,
Looks like they
strong
may have always been
demigorgon?
white. I just thought they were black.
Maybe
Yeah,
just-
we're assuming
Well,
the
it,
Mind Flayer
it was
is
the
top
Demodogs
brass,
that were
but
it
black,
might
and
not
maybe
be.
the
Well,
Demogorgons
'cause
were
I thought
whiter.
that they were just darker, but they are pale.
Huh.
But anyways, like
Anywho.
I would be mad if the whole next season's just like there's no more other. We have 2 monster designs and they're
yeah, I
Mind
hope-
Flayer
I would
and
sincerely
Demogorgon.
doubt that.
It's
Wow.
like you waited like 4 hours in line for this great pop-up burger spot, and they're like, "We got cheeseburger, hamburger." The fuck, man!
Well, they can't. They
There's no
can't
bacon?
do.
Put some peanut butter on that shit, man.
Well, no, I mean they can't. Like, I can't see them doing another epic scene of chasing or running away from demi-dogs.
Well, the tough thing is kind of like, where's the escalation, right? Is there something better or stronger than the Mind Flayer or not, or something
Was
more?
the Mind Flayer
No,
trying
I
to
think
get
they
away
gotta-
from its
now we're
world?
speculating.
Yeah.
I think they got to take the fight to the upside down.
Well, yeah,
Take
that's
it out.
this is the gush speculate, but it's
Yeah.
like you can't exceed a Mind Flayer, right? It's so gigantic, enormous in size, and it already like you have a piece of it that took over a mall. But it's like, what if I like that? What if it's running away from them? What if it's one of other Eldritch horrors, right? But then it's also like, what are you doing else as like your little minions? You have the little Demodogs and Demogorgons. That's it. Like you have a really small ecosystem if that's the
yeah,
case.
break up that D&D book and
But
find a new
also,
monster.
I would have liked a little bit more if Will was more than just like the dowsing rod. Where the fuck?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, can he have some powers? He's got some. He's got some touchy-touchies with the
I kind of
upside
feel
down.
like they're
I
they're
don't like how you
hinting
phrased that.
at Will
I think-
having powers.
I think they're either hinting at maybe Will.
What if
having
he's a
powers,
warg? What if he turns to Brand the
or
Broken?
or Will's gonna have to die to save the world.
It's
because he's too connected.
not Brand the
Sacrifice
Broken.
himself.
Will the Woken.
Jesus.
All right. Nope.
Can we?
Send him
On
home.
that note,
So I feel complete.
I feel complete. Yep.
All right.
Everybody at home, what did you think of season 3 of Stranger Things?
Are you excited for season 4?
What, do we know like a date that
Some
might
more 4?
like in a year or something?
probably
like
next
that?
Probably next summer.
But while you're looking that up,
kids ain't getting any younger.
yeah, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you. Yeah, if you are new to Nerd On, check us out, nerdon.tv. It has all the information, all of our links, all that such stuff. Please share us with your friends, your family. If you didn't like us, go ahead and share us with your enemies. That helps too. Something that really does help is reviews and ratings on iTunes.
Indeed, they do.
And Facebook and everywhere else that you can
Yeah,
leave a review.
ratings. Stop on by. Let us know what you thought. Reach out to those in those DMs. Let us know. We do have another show that we do every week called the Nerd On Update, where you can submit questions. So you can submit questions, even if it's like, what's your favorite burger?
Or type of peanut butter. Or favorite comic
What
book.
would you order at the Scoops Ahoy?
Yeah. Submit those to questions at nerdon.tv. But yeah, thank you so much. Did you?
I did. There's no official release, but they will be going into production in October of this year.
Oh.
Oh,
October 2019. They did mention that while season 2 started in Halloween, that's when season 2 was released, and this one started in 4th of July, and that's when it got released. So if it is back for Christmas,
Oh,
That'll
wow.
Might be a
next
Christmas
I feel
episode.
like that
Oh,
might
interesting.
be what they do.
they're like,
Okay.
"Hey, Star Wars is not happening this year. We'll do Netflix."
so 2020
you go.
Christmas, maybe?
I hope so. Cross
Well,
Let's do it.
Find
24
out.
Christmas. Let's do it.
What do you think? No. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate you. so much.
Mwah.
But yeah, that's it. You know the drill. As always,
Nerd on!
on!
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.